So everybody's wondering what's going on with the horses now that racing looks to be resuming in Pennsylvania, New York, obviously in New Jersey, Ohio, Ontario, Illinois. Where's everybody at? What's everybody doing? And are we going to see them surface in stake races? So we're going to run through them real quick. Ale Sun hit a little bit of a difficulty last 2 weeks at the track. Made a couple of breaks that were a little odd and a little unfortunate. We ended up putting the hobbles on her. She qualified great the other day. She will be racing next Saturday at Northfield Park in a Buckeye event. Arctic Force, he's in Monday. So there's a little tricky situation. We're at a tipping point with a lot of horses. Are they stake material or are they overnight kind of grassroots material? The top end of any division is extremely difficult. You saw the 2-year-old trotters going 53 at Northfield. Globetrotting won in 55 and 1. All three of our trotters trotted in 55. So, again, looking back at a horse like Ale Sun, is she going to trot in 55 at Scioto? It's a tall order to take. I think a little wiser, and maybe she was looking out for herself with those breaks. She's going to find her way into the Buckeye her first start, and then we'll see what happens. And coincidentally, we had a conversation started with a number of other clients about spend that money. Although she trotted 55 flat, the fastest mile of any of our 3-year-old fillies last night, she finished 6th. Trotted last quarter in 28 seconds. Do we put her back in the Sire Stakes, or does she go to the Buckeye? These are the things that we're always dealing with. Now, the Buckeye, 4 or 5 divisions, final for $75,000 or $100,000. A legitimate, decent staking series. You look at New York, although it's condensed this year, they have less legs, 5 legs. So the Excelsior goes for 15, final of what, 50? If I'm wrong, it's 70, then I'm wrong. But similar, but different in the past, where it went to a lot of smaller tracks. It went for 15, and you ended up with eight legs going for 15 each. It ends up, truthfully, unless you're the best horse in that division, same for the grassroots here in Ontario, unless you're one of the best horses in that distinction, you're paying to race against non-winners of 2 company. Now, when you look at horses that have more money or more wins on their program, yeah, I can make a case where it may be beneficial and worth your while to race in those second-tier programs. But looking at a horse like Arctic Force, 2 wins, 12 grand made, he can make $35,000 at Mohawk before he really has to stretch his legs that hard. And that's not to say there's any cakewalks. They're going to go 51, 52, 53 in the non-winners of 2. And if he can't do there, he likely can't do in the Excelsior. He certainly can't do in the Sire Stakes. So a lot riding on what is going to take place Monday at Mohawk. I would like to see a mile in 52 and a piece out of Arctic Force, and there's no reason why he can't. Kenny and I have talked about this quite a bit, one of my partners on Arctic Force, and Kenny would like to see the horse show up in New York, but I have to figure out what's the best for the horse, what's best for the group, and they usually run laterally together. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I'm not going to say anything. Let's see how he races on Monday. If he doesn't pace 52, he paces 54 at Mohawk. You can't realistically think that we're going to roll into even an Excelsior A division going for that $15,000, put up starting fee money and race against horses that may beat him. So it's tough, right? There's such a thin line between, and I've said this a million times, such a thin line between okay, good, and really good. Last night, I didn't know I could hold my breath for that long watching Globetrotting. Minute 55.1, that's how long I held my breath for. She was a little bumpy. She's not on the top of her game. And had she got beaten last night, now what do we do? Tough game we're in, isn't it? So it leaves, sometimes even definitive victories leave you with more questions than answers. So Arctic Force, a really nice colt. There's no denying that. He might have won at 56 here, but it was his first start of the year. He's not as good on the front end. We qualified in 55, and I know he could have paced 54. But he paced 56 and 1 on the front end. Let's see what he can do tomorrow night. Beach Boutique, very similar. This filly paced 53 last quarter, 26 and 4. I haven't had one question about her. What about the Stallion Series for her? Are we going to go to Pennsylvania and race for $20,000 legs of the Stallion Series? Race her in the non-winners of 2, non-winners of 3 in Pennsylvania? It's a great question. Let's see how she does this week. Beach Bum BB's going to Indiana simply because there's not a lot of racing for Beach Bum BB here. Nobody's asked, why isn't she in to go? Because she's going to find it really tough in the straight non-winners of 2 here. Really tough. She got $13,000 made. The non-winners of 15 or 20 here in Ontario is rather difficult. So she needs to go to Indiana and race against... I'm actually missing a race. I'm in the next race. I'm going to get 4 done and have to come back to you in just a second. So Beach Bum BB is going to go to Indiana this week, I believe. First truck going to Indiana. She'll be on the back of it. Bottle of Red, very similar situation. Arctic Force, Beach Bum BB. Looked good the other night, 54 in her first start back. Here's a little tidbit in case you missed it. I overdrove her. I expected a little too much out of Bottle of Red, and she ended up 4th. But, not to say that I'll never drive a horse poorly again, but I don't think I'll drive her poorly again next week. I think she'll be tighter, she'll be better, and in a better position to strike. Brushcut's racing tonight at Kawartha Downs. I don't think you're going to see Brushcut go to New York for a while, if at all. A lot of the small track racing is not going to bode well for him. I think we're going to beat around here with him. Hopefully he races good at Kawartha this week, maybe graduate to Georgian next week, and then off to Mohawk after that. That's the plan with him. I'm going to leave it. No, race is still going. Cabernet is definitely not going anywhere. She's going in the pool this weekend. We're going to put her in the pool for the next 4 weeks and then get her back going. Canadian Titan, I paid her into a lot of Ontario events. Yes, she was 7th the other night. Yes, she trotted in 57, but she needed a race. She might need 2 or 3 races. I was very happy with the way she did her work. She'll be entered back again on Thursday. Mary will be down on her. I was going with her for a little while. This is how the training center helps each other, right? Mario was struggling a bit with Canadian Titan, or if Kevin is, or if Harry is, or if Jason is. We all kind of pitch in and brainstorm, and we had changed some shoes on Canadian Titan, and I'd went with her a couple of times. She was a little bit better, and I think she's dialed in good now. There's certainly no need for me to be driving Canadian Titan. I think Mario will get along just fine with her. He did all last year, and she'll be in to go Thursday. I would like to see her come forward. I would like to see her race in the Golds, and hopefully stuff after that. But again, it's all up to her. Capistrano, another filly. There's a filly that probably could win the grassroots just because she's got too much money and too many wins on her card, so it would make sense to race her there. She's in tough here again. Drew the outside post again on Tuesday, so I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're likely going to see a lot of what took place last week. Take her to the back, run her up the wood, try and get her comfortable, finishing strong. Then when we get a better post with her in the coming weeks, we can maybe step in the accelerator, and there should be something there. When you look at some of the horses, how they've come back, some have come through extremely well. Trafalgar looked like an absolute freight train here last week. Then you go to the other side of the spectrum, Sunshine and Shade looked horrendous. 2 horses had decent 2-year-old seasons, both trained back good, both look good. One going in one direction, one in the other. We have to really, really work hard on getting Sunshine and Shade back together, keeping Trafalgar as good as we can, and everybody in the middle try and push them forward also. So Capistrano is somewhere in the middle, right? She did not look as good as Trafalgar. She looked quite a bit better than Sunshine and Shade, but not as good as Trafalgar. What she needs to do is go forward. We can't leave with her at the 8-hole off a mile and 56. She would be absolutely eviscerated. So a lot of what you saw, unfortunately, the draw sucks, but you're going to see a lot of what you saw last week. Compass Rose DC race great. She'll be back in to go on the Sire Stakes next time. Don't believe me, just watch. I gave you the scoop last week. He won't start training until July 1st. Emerald Miss is in to go this week in Ohio in the Buckeye Series. Again, lots of racing for her over there. You saw Excellent Nation and Susie K get off to a pretty good start. Purses aren't great there right now in Northfield, but that will all compound and accumulate as the year goes on, and we're using these races as confidence builders. So hopefully they can build some confidence, get better and better and better, and then on to, I would like to see Excellent Nation and Susie K both do well in the Buckeye this year, but we want them to graduate in there on their terms, not ours. Enduring Strength, I'm going to set the hobbles on him for Davey right now. We're going to head out on the track. I'm going with Just For Me and You, and Travis Henry is going with Enduring Strength. Got to get at that right now. And then the last one on the first page, Excellent Nation, a winner last week. Very happy to see that horse win. He actually has done a lot of work and tried very hard. He's back in the same class. I expect the same result. And then we'll talk to Aaron if he thinks he can do in the Buckeye. Who would know better than him? Drives enough horses in the Buckeye. Do you think he can do in the Buckeye? No. Put him right back in that class. If he can do in the Buckeye, let's go to the Buckeye. So that's where we're at. I'm done maybe 15 of the horses. I'm going to do the next 2 columns in just a minute, off to the races. I had a few minutes left before my race. I wanted to talk to you guys. I'll be back right after. Take care.